What's going on? Tube Yube. Welcome back to the Plot Coalition YouTube channel. Today we are going to be doing some animation. I've been testing out a new... Hey, Zerl the Turtle. Welcome to the stream. I have been using a new animation software. My motion capture suit has been acting up. So I'm working with the company to work on getting it fixed. But in the interim, I need to continue animating. And I've been trying out Cascadeur, which is a software that I had, I downloaded like a free version of it. And then at one point they were like, hey, if you downloaded the software, then like you can get an indie license for 2 years for free. It was like this big incentive to get people using it, and so I signed up for that, and then I just kind of ignored it from there. And then they came out with all these new features that are pretty neat. And I've been using it to do specific shots, especially when it comes to stuff with ragdoll and whatnot. So like I can animate a character getting knocked over, thrown into a wall. If you saw like the YouTube short I posted, like getting blasted by, an explosion fairly easily, which is pretty cool. So I am going to be using that. We'll do a couple of animations. I tend to animate them in Cascadeur to start, and then I take them into Unreal and clean them up. So I kind of consider it like digital motion capture. So I do like my animation bit here, pass it through into Unreal, and then I can finish it up in there, which is pretty neat, pretty cool. Hey, yo, what's up, Unknown Waff? Good to have you here. Good to have you on the stream. So we'll be hanging out, animating, maybe talking video games and whatnot. We can, oh shoot, I forgot my water. I am going to die of thirst. One moment. Let me grab my water. It's right outside the door. I am no longer parched. Here we go. We're back. We're back and we're rock and rolling. So we're going to get to animating. Maybe we'll talk about current video game news or something. Hey, Ryan's here. Good to see you here, man. Very, very exciting. All right, let's see here. So this is Cascadeur. I am going to get... Whoa, my phone just started blowing up. Oh, it's Instagram, of course. Of course. But yeah, we'll get to animating, and then I'll talk through how this animation software works and what's kind of interesting about it and kind of scary about it, but also just kind of how it's helping right now. So like, this is Cascadeur. It's a software that is like based on trying to make animating more accessible. So one of the things they have here, it does work with the Unreal Engine mannequin, which is pretty cool. But essentially what it does is like, as you position your character, it is going to try to anticipate what pose you're trying to put it in. And you can like turn this off and have it affect different things in different ways. But it is like, it's pretty neat. So it makes the animation process a bit faster. This is something that they've been working on for a few years. So like, if I wanted to do a kick, it can already start to like anticipate that, like, that's a pose that I'm trying to do, and correct itself for that, so that like I can get to that key pose of a kick faster. Even though this doesn't look good at all, it is what it is. But now let's say I wanted to start like back here, and let's say I wanted to animate like the world's jankiest kick, right? And so what I could do is like have this be my first frame, do a frame where he's kind of like kicking out, and everything's gonna trying to adjust, you know, for that pose and try to figure it out, which is like kind of neat. It looks very awkward right now because this is not an actual animation that we're doing. I just kind of want to show what the software is trying to do. But so like, let's say we wanted to kick and then, you know, make him, no, make him land after that. This is looking quite bad. I'm overdoing this. This has actually gone terribly wrong. Let me let me undo that. So let's just have him kick and then go to put his leg back down and his body like kind of up. And like do something like that. So those are kind of our frames, and then maybe the last frame. Maybe we'll do a 40 frame animation, and in this last frame he just like is supposed to move forward. Right. So with this, we have just like a couple of keyframes here, a general idea of what we want the body to do, and it's updating and figuring it out kind of for us in a way, as far as like trying to anticipate where I'm trying to pose the character, right? So let's, again, this is not going to be good whatsoever, but like let's say we wanted that to be like our poses, and we'll set this to 40 as well. So now if I take these frames, I can do a couple of things with them. One, I could auto interpolate between them, and it's just going to try and figure out what the animation from those frames are going to be. But they also have now this in-betweening, which is basically going to fill in the animation in between those frames. So if I click on this, you can see it's like trying to actually generate motion capture. So like a step forward, all this other jazz. This is like, because it's such a horribly key-framed animation, it's doing a pretty rough job of it. But like that's the basic idea. And then you can also use this, you know, to like trigger different physics and whatnot. So like, let's say I wanted him from this frame to this frame is like, let's say the character lost their balance and I wanted them to just like fall over. So like I can set that up and have it, oh wait, work on interval. Sorry, I didn't do that properly. So now it'll kick, it'll go to put his foot back down, and it'll, you know, fall over. And then I can take this, I can snap that to my animation, and now our guy does that, and he has that all baked in. So it's pretty neat. And so I've been using it for a whole bunch of like gruesome deaths and stuff in the Helldivers film. We will not save this, but just to show like an actual clean version of how that actually works, like that auto animation thing, which like is kind of the bit of it that's kind of scary, is like if I go like 45 frames in and I just move the guy forward, and I move like, we'll just move a foot forward and a foot backwards just to give him like some direction. Maybe take his arm and like put it down. like that. Now if I take these two, watch how fast this goes. We'll interpolate between them. I'll just hit that. And look at that. It animated the walk to get to that point in that amount of time. So it's pretty crazy stuff that like this exists. So I am going to be using it to do some specific animations that one would either be like too unsafe to do with my motion capture suit, like getting thrown or anything like that. So it's nice to use it for that. And then like, you know, there might be instances where it's like I just legit need like what would essentially be like an animation for Mixamo, just do it in here instead. Could be interesting as well. So basically what you're saying is New Frontier Season 2 is going to be lit. I don't know how many times I can say it. I can't promise anything about New Frontier Season 2. But you never know. I'm not putting it totally out of the picture. But as of right now, not now. But so yeah, we'll be working on these animations. The first one I'm gonna do is get knocked over because there's like a backblast scene where two Helldivers are like behind a rock and they get thrown backwards. So we're gonna do that animation, which would be so right here. Which this is 27 frames. I'll probably animate a little bit more than that. But yeah, I'll be working on this. Does anybody want to talk about garbage takes about the video game industry? I can kind of get into it. There's been all the Nintendo drama and like, you know, Nintendo opens up the floodgate for, you know, $80 games, that being a thing now. And it's an interesting mixed bag. $70 games, $80 games, all sorts of stuff. From what I understand, it's what the new Donkey Kong game is $70, and the Mario Kart World is $80. So sort of my opinion on it is like, it all depends on what the game is and what you're playing. Because I feel like there's always been like kind of a tier of like what a game is. So for example, you have something like Space Marine being $60, Helldivers being $40, and then like lower tier games, you know, dipping into like the $20 and the $15 range, all the way down into like indie games that, you know, are a couple of bucks and whatnot. I think there's one that like is something to be said if like a game is able to keep you in for a long time and like something you'll enjoy playing without being busy work. So like something like an Assassin's Creed game, I don't think should ever be worth more than $60. I would say that most Assassin's Creed games are probably like $40, maybe $50 games, right? They're not to that level. I think a lot of Nintendo games have always been overpriced. They don't make $60 games, in my opinion. They make probably in that $40 range. We've only really gotten Nintendo games like when they're in that range, like when they're on sale. Like I think we got years ago we got Yoshi's Crafted World for like $30. we played a lot of it. It was fun, and now our son plays it, and he really enjoys it. Like it's a good value for what the game is, and for the price that we got it at. But now, like with so many of these other games and whatnot, I think if you are going to like be charging a premium price, I think a premium price would be $60 or more. So when you get into this $60, $70, $80, $90, $100 range, I think there are like a few things that like should automatically be like inexcusable. Like you have to deliver a game that has like that is finished. You know, you can't be putting out a game that doesn't have polish to it. So I think that'd be like number one. And then after that, I think it depends on how much value is in the game as far as like how much you can realistically play it. So I would say like something like Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game that like I would consider being like a high value game. I've dumped a ton of hours into it. I think it does an incredible job of like giving you content that feels like it's worth it. Like I feel like I have gotten I got my $60 worth of Red Dead and much more. Right? But that's a game that has like a lot put into it. And with that, I feel like when it comes to like whenever GTA 6 comes out and whatnot, there's obviously going to be like this markup premium for what the game is. And I think if the game can deliver on that, I think it could be justified. I think the problem is there are so many games that don't justify the price tag that they're asking for. Whether it's because it's missing components that like other games either offer or like just like can't hold their own weight. Like I would even say with this is another one. This is why I was thinking about this so much today. The Last of Us, great games. I love both the games. The whole thing has been done to death. It's like they've kind of bastardized the whole franchise because they are like stuck on hanging their laurels on those two games, specifically the first one, because they like peaked with that, and you know it's because of just like the success that the game has had and it's found a brand new audience and stuff with the show and whatnot, because like Uncharted doesn't get the same thing. Uncharted at best got like the Nathan Drake collection, which was the first 3 games just all ported onto PS4. So like, you know, it was that, and then they did like the bundle of like Uncharted 4 and that small game that came out after it that was literally just like a physics test for Last of Us Part 2. And I feel like with that, you know, like The Last of Us can't demand a premium price anymore because it's not offering anything new. You know, it's like, all right, we played the game in 2013, 12 years ago, and in 2020, 5 years ago. And they keep reselling that experience at full price. I think at that point, it's like, no, this is like, it's that game isn't worth that anymore because there's nothing more to offer from it. Sure, there's better graphics, and you can have like, I think it would be cool, and I do at some point want to play through The Last of Us Part 1 with the mechanics of Last of Us Part 2 and play the 2 games back to back. Sure, I want to do that at some point. I'm not going to pay full price to do that because I've played Last of Us Part 1 so many times that like it doesn't warrant that kind of price tag. So I feel like if there is an effort to make games worth, you know, the asking price, I think the game studios just need to prove that it is going to be that. And I feel like things like, the recent reception, whether it be good or bad, to the new Assassin's Creed game is kind of like a testament to that. Because I didn't necessarily hear anything like egregious about Assassin's Creed Shadows, but I have not heard of anybody who like loves it. I think part of that is just because the concept for the feudal Japan Assassin's Creed game has long since sailed, and people have found like enjoyment of that in different games. But like it is also to a point where like Assassin's Creed games don't offer like anything new really to do. Like, it's largely you're just kind of grinding the same thing over and over again, and at a certain point I'm like, okay, that I wouldn't necessarily consider that like newer or different content. You can have a lot of the same mechanics, but like change up what the game is actually like. So, I think gaming is in like an interesting state because like, it hasn't had to cave to inflation in a long time. But I think with that, like, if they are going to charge these prices, I don't necessarily have a problem with the price tag themselves for a new game, but like, it will really depend on, did they make a game good enough that enough of a customer base will pay that much for it and convince their friends to pay that much for it to continue playing it, and like keeping it at that price? Or is it going to be like with most games where it doesn't meet criteria and like eventually just has to drop the price because they're not going to sell any copies otherwise. So we'll see what happens with it. Do I think Nintendo games warrant that $80, $70, $80 price tag? No. But do I think those higher price tags are necessarily like a like the end of the world situation? I also think no. But I also think that game studios need to make games worth playing, because in a lot of cases that's not happening right now. There aren't a ton of games that like I get jazzed about being out. Like the last game that I bought full price, like out of my wallet, because Helldivers 2 was gifted to me. So the last game that I bought full price was Space Marine 2, and I had fun with it. I don't really have any complaints about like the single player or the whatever they called those missions that you could kind of do afterwards. Absolutely no problem with them. I thought it was a great game. Once it was done, I was like, okay, anything beyond the offering isn't really for me. But there was a level of which, like, after I was done with it, I was like, I don't know that was worth $60 to me. But it was fun. I will give it that. It just wasn't a $60 I felt like I should have paid for the experience that I got out of it. But it was fun, and I know a lot of people like still enjoy the game. So that's just one that wasn't as much for me as it might have been for other players. But I do think that is a game that if it cost more than $60, it probably would not. I don't think it would fall in that category of a game that's worth that much. I don't think there's been a game in the past 5 years that I've been excited about. That is totally fair. I have not been hyped for a game in a long time. I think the most hyped probably was Space Marine 2. Because Helldivers 2, I love the game, obviously. But, like, that came out of nowhere for me anyways. So Space Marine 2, like, I was seeing the hype build around it, and I got pretty excited about it. Actually, I lie. There's one other game that, like, I'm hyped about. We just haven't gotten it yet, because we're waiting until we're, like, in a better, like, time to, like, sit down and play it. But Split Fiction is one of the only games that, like, I've been, like, when I knew there was a release date, I was excited about it. We haven't gotten it yet just because we haven't had time to play it. But as soon as that time rolls around, like, it's going to, like, I know that is going to be a good experience because the game company has a proven track record of making good games, but also, like, at a reasonable price. And the fact that, like, you know, you can get it, you buy it once and you can play it for 2 people is pretty cool. Games need to be cheaper because I'm poor. I mean, there's that aspect of it too. Don't get me wrong, I understand that. YF says, yeah, when I see a game advertised, I'm like, it looks fun, might check it out. But then I see the $60+ price tag and think 90% of them aren't worth it. I bought Split Fiction. It's really fun. Good Easter eggs if you've played the earlier games. Yeah, we're really excited for Split Fiction when we get around to actually being able to play it. And I think, you know, WAF, that's the other thing with it too, is like, you know, games kind of need to sell you on, like, that, what do they call it? FOMO. They need to give you FOMO that, like, you're, like, the only person not playing this game right now. That is, like, what all of the Assassin's Creed Shadows marketing turned into when it started, like, actually selling some copies. They were like, look at everybody playing this game. Although, like, I feel like since, like, the first week it was out, there hasn't really been any news on it since. But you know, with that, like, I've always kind of felt like with most games, like, when I get around to it, I'll get around to it. I don't have time to play games all the time, and, like, when I sit down to play games, I usually like to just play something that I know I'll like, you know? Like, I would rather, like, before playing a new game, I would rather just replay Uncharted 4 again. In my opinion, that's where I exist. But a lot of times, like, I'll see a game and I'll be like, that'd be really fun to play, and I'll wishlist it and forget about it, and then, like, one day it'll be like, you know, this game on your wish list dropped in price, and at that point it's like, yeah, if it's in a price that, like, I would want to pay for the game, absolutely. Obviously something like Nintendo's never going to drop their price, but it's also just like, you know, every Nintendo game I've played, I've liked. I have not liked it for the full price. And there are, like, so many good games that, like, you know, aren't like, talked about at the price they're at. Obviously, like, Titanfall is, like, that's an easy one to point to. That's like, the game is constantly $3. You know, if you're complaining about not having a game to play and you haven't played that, then just go play Titanfall. But, you know, if that's like, there are so many other games that are constantly on sale that are older, that are just as, if not more, fun than, like, a lot of games that are coming out. Like the Arkham series, the Arkham Knight series is always on sale. Like, you can bundle all the games and get them all for wicked cheap all the time. And, like, that alone, I'm like, yeah, that's worthwhile to pick up and just have all those games and play through them. You get hours of fun. and it's like $15 for like 4 games. Like stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, that's not necessarily a bad deal. I will say something that I have noticed as I've been getting older, and that like came up even more playing like during COVID. I went back to like go play through old games that like when I was a kid I was like, this is the greatest game that was ever made. I remember having so much fun playing this. I learned the hard way that is that's a dangerous road to embark on, because turns out that there are a lot of games that do not hold up as well as I would have liked to believe. The ones that like immediately come to mind that like I went back and played in that period of time where I was like, ooh, this is gonna kind of buns, not gonna lie, is the ones that immediately come to mind are Assassin's Creed 3, which was my favorite game as a kid. When that game came out, I put so many hours into it. Assassin's Creed 3, the infamous Second Son, and what was the other one that I played? Oh, the Force Unleashed games. Those games I remember like vividly being the greatest games ever created, and then I played through them and I was like, nah, this ain't it. Which was kind of sad, but I was like, you know, better to disappoint myself now. Like, you know, keep going down this path and realize that like not every game that I enjoyed as a kid is as good now. Adversely though, there are some games that like do hold up. As funny as it is to say, the Lego Star Wars games still hold up. From like 2006, those are still, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Assassin's Creed 3, a childhood teenage essential, 100%. Went back to replay it and I was like, ew. I also forgot how long the intro was. Like, it is so long before anything happens. Bad Company 1 and 2 still kind of hold up. I would believe that, because I think what made Bad Company such a good game was the fact that it was like so sandbox, like for a first person shooter, and like it's kind of like what the Finals is now, as far as you you know, you get into it and you're like you're changing the environment, and that's what keeps the gameplay fresh, I felt like. And just like the way that enemies respond to you and everything. Like I felt like that's what made Bad Company, for me anyways. It's kind of the same thing with the Finals. Ooh, that's a pretty good that's a pretty good getting knocked back. Alright, so let's try this. We'll go with this one for now. I don't think this will be our hero character, but we'll see what the physics do. But so now I can snap these physics to the animation. Oh. It's supposed to anyway. Oh. is it not? Do I need to select the guy? Oh, what's going on? Usually right here, you click this button and it'll apply that physics sim to the guy that we animated, but for whatever reason, oh, I think I know why. I think it's because there's no interpolation between these two frames. Yeah, because I'm willing to bet he's on the floor over there. Yep. Okay, so that's the reason that's not happening. How do we then fix this? I'm going to say delete that keyframe. We'll add a new one and we'll just... What do you mean new models found? What are you talking about? Can I... Okay. Well, so that last frame isn't going to have anything updated. Where's my ghost? Where's our guy? This is something I have noticed with this software, is every once in a while you like go to set something up and then like something goes missing or starts acting up like this. And part of it could just be, yeah, like I'm still learning the software, so I could just be doing it wrong, which is probably going to be the case 90% of the time. But so now, because there are those interpolated keyframes, now our guy should inherit this motion. Yep. All right. So that has fixed that. So now we can turn ragdoll off. And now I can use these physics correctors to like update the entire animation. So him standing here, you know, that's gonna that is gonna send our guy into oblivion. So maybe not that much correction. Maybe we only go like 50%. It's an intense stunt. I will say this like physics corrector is the most buggy when you're doing like ragdoll based stuff. Like it has a really hard time trying to figure it out. Smooth trajectory is usually a pretty good one. It does do stuff like this though, where like it does that popping, which you can reduce. Oh, it's because he hits the floor there. That's why it's doing the popping. So we're gonna leave the corrector off, but let's see if we can get these other filters to help us out. To get our guy really moving. So as you can see, that's a little extreme. Let's turn that way down. Because the separation of motion, like, basically can kind of like allow each body part to act a little bit more independently. But you can even see like where it's adding more bend to the knees and everything before he gets obliterated. And then secondary motion is probably one of the coolest ones, because it's gonna add like little jiggles and stuff. So notice how like the hand, like, it's flung way back, like the feet kind of flop around. That's what this is mostly used for. Now what happens if we turn this physics corrector on, just set it a bit lower? Then what I will probably do here is so we can set this on top of our guy and have that be done. But now this sphere, I'm going to delete because I don't want it interacting anymore. But I might do one more ragdoll simulation. It's kind of what I've been finding does the best job of like taking all the data and you run it, and then like rerunning a ragdoll on top of it is like what makes it feel more visceral. I don't even know what happened to him there. What happens if we turn off free simulation? Because that's basically going to take the hips and drag the ragdoll across with the hips, which, as you can see, is causing its own issues. It's a bit wild. And you can animate and kind of control what the ragdoll is going to do. Quite a bit. Like I mentioned, this is probably going to be our second guy. I don't think this is going to be the main character. It's not giving main character energy. Whoa. This... He kind of swims in the air there. So maybe we'll turn that off for now. What happens if we turn the physics corrector on? I don't love it. All right, we're gonna be all done with those physics. I'm pretty happy with how it is looking. So if we turn off, hold up. I'm remembering how to do things. There we go. So the start of the motion is like way too fast, but the getting knocked back, I feel like, does a pretty solid job. And the start of this, I'll probably motion capture the start and then have them get flung back like that. Because, I mean, also this is only supposed to be 25 frames or something. So it could actually just work as it is for that shot. But, so here's what I'll do. I'll do a save as. And I'll put this in my animations folder. Let's see here. It's gonna end up being this guy. I'll just save that, and then we'll export this. But I want to show, like, with this new workflow, like how much better it works. Because, like, I can have this right here, and I can just be like HD 5. We'll call it that for now. And so it's already exported the animation. That's the other thing I like about Cascador, is like it's really fast, mainly because it's not trying to be a million different things that it's not, which is the problem with a lot of programs. I mean, even Unreal to a certain extent is like, Unreal is like, it tries really hard to be everything, and it does a pretty solid job, but it also has a lot of issues. And Cascador is just like, hey, we just want to make animation just like kind of more fun and accessible, and it does a solid job of that, you know. And so, like, because it's not exporting, like trying to render a scene or export a bunch of data that it doesn't need to, like, I can just come in here. I'll go, this is kind of like a project that I have set up just for animations. We've worked in here before. We've been to this place. Let me go grab that. But, so I can come in here and I can just select the Unreal mannequin, and there's that animation we just made. And then I can also just go in here and grab the IK retargeter, and we can pull open our Helldiver or any of these other models that we have, but for now we'll just use it on this default Helldiver. But now we can have that animation just translated and clean it up further from there, which is super nice. Like, it's a really nice workflow that just kind of works flawlessly. So I'm going to retarget it for now. I'm not going to clean it up in Unreal right now because we'll do a different animation for the time being, not just focus on the one getting flown back and flailing around. Let's see what else we got in here. I won't do the other character getting thrown back right now. I'll do that on my own time. Let's see. I'm trying to look for a real fun one where you just hop in and have a good time with. Let's see. That animation's done because I gave it to one of our animators and he absolutely killed it. Did an incredible job with it. That's another, like, just kind of gets thrown back shot. Oh, that's that is a poorly constructed sentence. So much of this too. So, like, one of the reasons I got Cascador or like wanted to start using it for this project was mainly because I wanted to be taking like motion capture and giving the motion capture like some more of those physics based things, which I think still totally works. But oh, this could be a cool one. Alright, we'll do this one. What is the name of this one? Which like I could still totally do bring motion capture in and do the same thing, but like the fact that so much can be pause, like generated in here, like that's another like thing to explore. So like the one that I had posted on, actually I can just open it up in here. So this animation 663 61 65. If I pop open this, and of course Unreal crashed. You son of a gun. How did I know it was gonna happen? I should have known this day was coming. I'll pull up the screen recording. But I have a bunch of screen recordings. I need to go through and clean it all out. But it's not that one. There we go. Is that the one? Yep. So this, I'll kind of point out like what was done. It's like here, so this run in the beginning, you can kind of see this wasn't a problem with the animation, it's a problem with my rig that I need to fix. But like this run animation, that was just done with like those 2 points and just like having it automatically interpret the run from that. And then this run at the start of here, it's the same thing, and then there are keyframes to animate them getting blasted to the side and landing, and then like cleaning that up some more and adding some custom animation to it. But like the fact that I was able to do this, it was like the second time I had ever animated anything in this program was this animation, which I don't know how much of it you call animation, because I would say like when he gets thrown and like this stuff, like that's stuff that I animated. But like I'm just kind of posing, and then the software is doing the in-between animation, which like, you know, I'm not saying it's like totally devoid of artistry, but there's a certain degree where I would just consider that like the same as using Mixamo for like a walk cycle or, you know, a jump or something like that. My death was greatly exaggerated. But yeah, no, it's, I don't know, it's all new weird stuff. But, all right, so this will be an unfortunate soul. He fires a gun at one of those automatons that have like the exploding backpacks. He fires at one of them, and you know, is in too close of proximity. And so this is kind of going to be like right after he pulls the trigger, he kind of flops down. So it'll be kind of like behind him. So the animation is going to be him kind of like spinning out from that blast. Like not quite taking a step forward and falling over. Hey, what's up, Ark? Welcome to the stream. Happy to have you here, buddy. I haven't seen you in a minute. Glad to have you around. Alright, so we'll also... I need to figure out how to change the default because it keeps going to 30. I'd prefer to be in 24. I'm also just going to set this to frames. Alright. Recoiled and exploded all in one. Yep. So what I'm hoping to kind of do with this is like how much can we use the physics corrector to drive this, and then similar to last time, like, you know, just have the ragdoll drive the rest. Like once he's fully spun around. My dog is taking a nap on the other side of my door. He doesn't come in for streams or anything like he used to, but he does lay outside the door. I think he thinks I'm busy, and he doesn't want to bother me. Are you going to add little things in the film that devs added in the game? Like how standing behind a recoilless rifle when it fires will knock you over. There are definitely like little things like that. Not like that specific detail, but there are definitely like a few small things. For anybody who doesn't know what a Greg is, we are hiding Gregs in certain scenes. It's this little snake-looking guy that they hide on the maps. The devs just kind of do it as like a fun little hidden thing. So we've hidden a couple in the environments. Yo, I didn't know about the eclipses until recently. And there are a couple scenes where I'm like, ooh, do I just turn that into like a short eclipse instead of like nighttime or something like that? Because I did notice, I did see like a whole video breakdown of like that sort of thing. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty neat. So I think what we're gonna do, so add one more frame here. It's kind of like the body motivator. And then we'll set one more frame all the way down there. And we'll auto interpolate these ones. Alright, let's see what physics does, just with like the basics of this. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever noticed where like it caused like something comes out from the other side of the eclipse. I've definitely noticed with what do you call it? Like during the blizzards and stuff like that. Certain things like that. That is a bit extreme. Ah, there it goes. Yo, Jonah, what's up? Haven't seen you on the stream in a while. Good to have you here. Exciting, exciting. It's a higher level bug mission in a city environment. Vision gets a bit rough. Interesting. I typically play level 10, but I also like play when I'm pretty tired. Alright, so we lost only a little bit of work. Not too much. It's mainly gonna be this gunfire and the rotation. Yeah, I totally get you, Jonah. I've been pretty busy myself, but it's good to see you on the stream. Missed having you in chat. A bit rough means you can't see 10 paces in front of you. Sounds about right. What are all y'all's thoughts on the city bug and bot missions? I think they're interesting. I think it's neat that they exist. But like you can tell they were designed to fight the Illuminate. Like it feels like they're being used to fight the bugs because of like, you know, the fans would really like that. What are my thoughts on the new War Bond? I love it. Cowboy Helldivers, dude. That is my jam. I am a big fan of the new War Bond. I think it's a ton of fun. The hover pack too is like, there's a lot of like the equipment in War Bonds that I'm like, is this like actually useful? Like not being able to get away from the enemy, but then also like be above them for a brief bit. Oh, it's super helpful. I just wish I played more jetpacks more often. Jetpacks aren't like my first go-to a lot of the times. You finally got the hoverback today? Yeah, no, it's awesome. I love using the hoverback. Yeah, sadly there's no cowboy hats though. I saw some people in the official Discord complain of that having themed uniforms like the Western one or Servants of Freedom one throws off the game's aesthetic. You know, I see what they mean, but it's also just like, you know, it's fun. It's a game. It's about having a good time. And, you know, is it a little more than like some of the other ones? Sure. Servants of Freedom, I feel like, is like in line with the game. I will say stuff like Truth Enforcers is like, I feel like, where it's very like feels very much so like in the lore. Like I can understand why something like that is preferred over the other war bonds. This boa about to crawl away. What am I doing right now? I am, so like I'm setting up this animation, and like this is kind of what's going to trigger like a ragdoll sim for him to fall to the ground. I just wanted to give it like some guidance, so it looks like really jacked up, but the hope is that the ragdoll will take it into account as like a position to send him into. But it does look weird. Here, this is what we're going to do. Well, this is part of an autosave, but let's do a brand new save. To keep all this. Hopefully it's still. Did not save my clipboard copy. It was just like fatal error. All right, so we have that. We have everything up to date and saved, and we have an autosave of this. Let's keep it moving. So we'll auto interpolate from here to here. I'm gonna see what this does for these frames. And that feels pretty good. So we have the auto interpolation. Let's go ahead and apply some physics. And this is what I like about this program. Is like we're getting animation so fast from those poses that we created. Which is just like super cool. Kind of like I can definitely see where like there would be like a concern of like, you know, oh, it kind of takes like the artistry out of it. I can definitely see that being a concern. But for like the speed and accuracy of it, we got a weird pop there. I'm just gonna undo those. Because, like, again, I kind of see this as if this is like the motion capture, then I can clean this up in animation. And at that point, I don't really see it as too different than what I would have been doing before. As far as like motion capture, clean it up. Oh, no, Jonah. I am, I'm very sorry to be the one to tell you. Fish did not make it. We had a funeral a few weeks ago for the fish. You know, it was when my son picked out that fish, I tried so hard to convince him not to get it. Because he wanted a feeder fish. So the fact that the fish lived as long as it did is kind of crazy. But yeah, fish did not make it. So I'm so sorry to tell you the news. There is plans to get another fish and set him up, and on that stream, the new name of the fish was decided. Why did the fish die? It was old for what it was supposed to be. It's a fish you get to like feed to a turtle. And you know, it lived life, it lived free, but unfortunately it should have lived forever. Yeah, it was not one of those goldfish, unfortunately. Alright, so to answer Kixit. I'm gonna say Kixit. To answer your that don't look like an exploder to me, Kixit. Got it. So in the story, like, this is supposed to be more of like a death. One, it's a little bit more dramatic, but it's kind of more like one of those concuss-induced deaths. So, like, it's like as he's turning around, like, you can kind of see it being like his last moment before he falls over. foot's doing some weird stuff. What happens if we turn the gravity down? He's on the moon. Exactly. Oh, Jonah, we'll be seeing you later. What if we turn the gravity to like 1200? And what I like also about working in this, ooh, that feels kind of sad. What I like about working in this software is the fact that I have control over these physics, because that's something you don't get in Unreal. Is like those physics are like just like they happen and you just kind of have to accept like the results, and like, you know, you can like tweak certain parameters, but it's always a gamble. This you can kind of direct a little bit more. It's like, for example, if I turn the friction of the floor off, that is this is you know, not what we're going for. But that's pretty close. That's actually feeling pretty decent. What happens if we turn the stiffness multiplier down? Because this death is definitely supposed to be more, like, yikes. Whereas, like, there's a lot of them that are just kind of, like, played for laughs. This one's a bit more serious in tone. So that feels pretty good. I'm gonna... Let's see what we can... what we can correct additionally. Would be interesting, I think, for there to be a diver that loses his marbles over seeing a bunch of his comrades die or something. Well, there are a couple, there are moments. There are moments. We played around with like as many ideas as we could. But yeah, there were a bunch of things that we wanted to include that kind of got left on the idea floor. That would be interesting to play with in the future potentially. But for this one, you know, we fit what we could within it. starts tweaking. Yeah, there's definitely again, like a little bit that we play with in kind of that direction. Not 100%, but yeah, they're just like different ideas or like backgrounds we gave characters just to be like, you know, what if we played with like this idea, or like how would this character react in this situation? Sometimes these physics filters, they work better across the whole animation rather than like trying to be just the one. Whoa. That is not it. That was not. Not it. But you can definitely see, like, you know, as we're making these little tweaks, it's just adding more on top of those initial keyframes that we did. I don't love this, like, arm gets stuck to the floor and, like, humping the ground, but that's something we can delete later. It will turn that secondary motion down quite a bit. And we'll snap it to our guy. We'll hide this, and then we'll kind of make a maybe the last thing we'll do is just from like here to here. Maybe we'll do one more physics, but just as a ragdoll on top of everything. That is just like at this point, like, take my man. That twitching kind of makes it look like a live leak video. Kind of messed up. If we add in another frame, just did it between these two. Nope, don't want to do that. I've learned my lesson. Please, Papa. That feels pretty good. All right, we'll snap that, and then I think we're pretty good to call this animation pretty close to done. Out of Cascadero, at least. I do wish there was a more violent turn here in the beginning. But also, it's probably going to be more realistically like from this frame. And I could probably animate the end of that in Unreal. That shoulder getting twisted up is kind of... Not the greatest, but maybe I'll simulate the cape to kind of fall over it and hide it some. Overall, I'm going to call that a pretty decent success. All right, rather than going in and looking for and finding a different animation, I think I'm going to play some Helldivers and then call the stream good. So, I'm going to set up my PlayStation 5. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Something to that effect. Kick it. All right. I'm going to jump into Helldivers. I will be back in just a second. Enjoy the intro music.
Don't stop.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. Let's see. PS5 is not sending a signal. This is what I get for not purchasing the PlayStation camera. It's coming through my screen, which is a good sign. Ba 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 ba. Okay. All right. Now let's see. There we go. Classic turn it off and turn it back on again. Wow.
Don't let the bugs kill babies. Fight them with fight.
Very important. Alright, let's well, first of all, I did like a random search and it put me in a level 5 the other day, which I was not too appreciative of. Alright, so this does not feel updated at all. Or maybe it is. So it looks like we're pushing the automatons more than the terminids right now. Well, I say we go help the terminid front. There's no way we're getting back, really. We were halfway done with the Wezen at noon. That's crazy. Really? That is wild. So this dropped 80%. Well, more than that. It dropped 130%. If this was half liberated at noon, it dropped 130% in, what, 9 hours? That's crazy. And nobody's on Garharin. I feel like, hold up, let me restart Helldivers. I feel like there's no way that's true. Also, my audio on the PlayStation's being kind of weird. One sec. It's giving me some weird feedback. All right, let's see if that's actually true. Because if that's true, that is so crazy.
One shudders to envisage what repulsive larvae gestates within the glue as we speak.
Okay, yeah, no, Wezen is almost liberated. Yeah, no, my PlayStation was not synced. So it looks like this is the pushing back against the incineration corpse. And then bugs. So secure resources to upgrade the DSS, either liberating the designated automaton planet for exosuit report or liberating the designated terminated planet for Eagle rearm support. So people want better exosuits. Alright, I can get down with that. I'll do my part. That's what democracy is about. Having the ordnance distribution gives access to the 380. Interesting. Alright.
The automatons desire this planet for their soulless machinations. Go down and show them the
I like the
light of
Wendy's.
liberty.
Another desert with fire tornadoes. Another Hellmire? How did the devs know? Cinnamon Man. Cinnamon Man, where you at?
Always good to have another hero.
Come here, Cinnamon Man. Give me a hug. Oh. Yeah. You. All right, what we doing? Okay. Let's see here. I really want to get the chemical agents and use that. I'm debating if I go with something I know. You know, since it's the two of us, I think I have to. I have to go with a loadout that I'm comfortable with. She's gonna be like, you are crazy. And I'm gonna be like, yeah. Maybe I am a little crazy. Ooh. What about the drip dough? What is a diver without his drip? Pretty sure that's the one that goes with it. Oh, we gotta go. We gotta decide fast. We'll do this. I've been able to watch many streams. Will there be use of the Senator in your film? Hario 360? Yes, there will. Our veteran character is a Senator Maine. He uses the railgun, the Senator, and I think the Punisher shotgun is what we landed on for him, but mainly the railgun and the Senator. Those are his go-tos.
All the galaxy looks to you for salvation. Let nothing stand in the way of liberty.
Yeah, it'll be exciting.
Objective located. North, 50 meters.
Sending out an SOS.
I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna throw that way over there.
Requesting advanced weaponry. Calling in orbital strike.
Orbital strike incoming. Allied destroyer joining squadron, deploying Helldiver.
Elbow more. Clear the air.
Nice.
Mission is progressing.
Did he get 2 hell bombs? Oh no, it didn't detonate. Reinforce.
Reinforcing.
It doesn't look like this detonated. Or is it bugged? It must be bugged because I'm not even getting the 380 as an option.
200 meters.
Sending in an eagle.
I don't even know what's over there, but We're carpet bombing it. I love that people are complaining about not being able to play the creek again. It is kind of funny. Oh, that was a little preemptive. Yo, where's that coming from? Straight out the sky. What in the world? Alright, I guess we're hitting this base.
What the fuck is even going on? I literally just joined.
I could not tell you. Everybody just left out of nowhere. Alright.
Requesting orbital. Requesting Requesting orbital strike.
Alright. We're just gonna let that clear things out. And we'll throw out an SOS.
Sending out an SOS. Sending in an eagle. Injury. Blood injury. Requesting sentry.
Semi-effective. Well, could have been better, could have been worse. Merrick is a biome and weather as creek, but right next to Cypher Stand. Interesting.
Request approved. Reinforcements have been launched.
Point me to the end.
Let's go see if we can find my stuff, because that airburst launcher is going to be a huge help.
Requesting air support.
Attack underway. Allied destroyer joining squadron. Deploying Helldiver to combat.
Yeah, that was my own fault. 'Twas my own stupidity.
Calling in reinforcements.
Thank you, thank you.
Allied destroyer joining squadron. Deploying Helldiver to combat zone.
Alright, let's go grab that launcher and move on in.
Calling down a sentry. Calling down a sentry.
It's stuck. It's stuck.
Requesting tac pack.
Where'd that guy go?
Dropping a pin. Southwest. 200 meters.
Ooh!
Calling in reinforcements.
Trying to up that
Dropship. Northwest.
that distance did not work in my favor. Ooh, ooh. Did I drop it? Did I drop the cluster bomb? I did. Yeah, I got 4. Yeah, I landed on the Strider and it survived.
Reinforcements have been launched.
I'm kind of disappointed that the
Joining the fray. Heavy, southwest, 50 meters.
oh my word.
Rolling in.
Yeah, you all stay over there. Is this place cleared? It is. I'm just gonna call in a new airburst. It's not even worth going back in for. So we gotta start hitting objectives.
Attacking man. South. Far.
I'm not supposed to be your squad leader. I didn't ask for this. Alright.
Calling down a support weapon. Deploying support weapon.
To the sky.
Spot outpost destroyed. Reloading!
I was playing with a few randos the other day, and they all got upset when they saw us bringing airburst based loadout. And I was like, I'm telling you, it's the most underrated loadout in the game for automatons, at least. And then they were watching me play it, and they were like, "Oh wow, it is actually pretty good." They're like, "I didn't know you could take out Hulks with those." It's like, yeah, dog. Let's hit this, Ooh. What's my opinion on the HMG? The HMG emplacement or the gun itself? Because I like both of them. I am an HMG fan. I wish with the handheld one, it gave you one more mag. That would make all the difference for me. The 3 mags is not enough.
Requesting orbital strike. Sending in an eagle.
Dang, this guy's like flying through.
Dropping a pin. East. 200 meters. Package acquired. Reloading. Lock fabricator. Southeast. Close.
I gotta remember, I don't have 5 of those.
Lock fabricator. South. Close.
Orbital inbound.
Reloading.
I'll read your comment in just a second. Ooh, multi-Hulk.
Objective nearby.
Requesting tac pack.
Lock fabricator. South.
Hey.
50 meters.
Whoa!
Dropping package.
That was close.
Calling down a support weapon.
I'm a big fan of the idea of integrated explosive armors. Oh my word.
Requesting air support. Calling in orbital strike.
Attack underway.
Freedom, triumphs of tyranny once more. The extraction shuttle awaits your request.
Who needs stims? You need stims? Get over here.
Outpost destroyed.
Oh, you don't need stims. You're. I need stims.
Has left the squadron.
Sending in an eagle.
Okay, that guy just straight up left.
Administering freedom.
He did all the missions and then he left. There goes his body.
Requesting sentry. And stay down.
Yeah, I'm extracting.
50 meters. Reloading.
Dropping package. Package acquired.
Oh, I guess they pulled in a resupply over there. Where's that singing bot at? Aha.
Calling in orbital strike.
Well, not a great plan.
Reloading.
Fly.
Thank you.
Package acquired.
Calling down a sentry.
And he's singing. Adds insult to injury.
Orbital inbound.
Asset within threat range.
Requesting air support.
Dropping package. Allied destroyer joining squadron. Deploying Helldiver to combat zone. Package acquired.
Alright, I think one of those hit the Colt. Hit the Hulk.
Sending in an eagle.
Alright, we gotta run back through the 380 to get to the extraction.
Orbital inbound.
Requesting orbital strike.
Can we proceed to extraction?
We're gonna get out of here.
Calling down a sentry.
Allied destroyer joining squadron. Deploying Helldiver.
Requesting advanced weaponry.
Heavy. North is close. Calling down a sentry.
Never mind. Extraction request confirmed. Shuttle inbound.
Alright, well. Time to hold them off from up here with limited resources.
T-minus 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Chill out, Mortar. Aha.
Calling down supplies.
ETA T-minus 2 minutes. Kill map updated.
Eat this. Eat this.
That should hold them over there for a minute. Throw in another
Requesting
mortar.
sentry.
ETA
Bum, bum, bum.
Attack underway.
Oh, hello, Mr.
Requesting advanced weapons.
Hulk Bruiser.
Requesting tac.
Reloading.
ETA T-minus 1 minute. Here comes the cavalry.
Goodness gracious.
Requesting air support.
Orbital inbound.
Requesting orbital.
ETA T-minus 30 seconds.
Requesting orbital.
Did it hit? No, it missed.
Heavy. South.
ETA T-minus 20 seconds.
Guys, I got bad news following me.
ETA T-minus 10 seconds. Clear landing zone. Orbital strike incoming.
Sending in an eagle.
Pelican 1 approaching pickup.
Attack underway.
Hey, I'll take 3.
Eagle 1 withdrawing to rearm.
All right.
Countdown initiated.
I say we bail. We get out of here. Yeah, you know, I'm just like, it all kind of depends for me, honestly. Like, I have nothing to work towards right now because I still need to get some more war bonds to actually unlock more stuff. Because otherwise, I'm tapped out. And like, I didn't start this mission. I joined somebody else's thing, and now I'm the one running it. Which I kind of hate when that happens, because now I'm like, oh, I don't want to let like the other people down, but I also don't want to be here like all night long. You know, we're already at 2 hours into the stream. I just wanted to come and get a couple games in. Yeah. Warning: you are in range of enemy artillery. Not nearly as much incineration corpse. They must be like really squashed right now.
Good work collecting so many samples.
Allied
All right.
destroyer has left squadron.
What do you guys say next? Mandalorian loadout? Commando style? There wasn't nearly as much resistance as I expected.
Allied destroyer has left squadron.
Oh, now everybody's leaving, so maybe we'll just go join somebody else. Yeah, because I don't even see the...
But one mission remains.
Yeah, I can't even see the missions we were doing because the other guy started it. Alright, let's see here. Conduct geological survey. I haven't done that in a while. That's right. I'm oro farming with that walk to the table.
Engaging orbital thrusters.
Alright, let's go. Let's go with the Mando style. So we'll go hover pack. Hover pack railgun. Or hover pack anti-material rifle. I feel like that's more Mando-esque. Rocket pods, because we can't launch any heat-seeking rockets off our backs. And We'll go shield generator relay. We'll go extra equipment. We could keep it with the Deadeye. I actually think the Scorcher is a little bit more on brand. And let's get some Mandalorian branded armor in here too. We'll just go with what's the default. I don't want to keep everybody waiting. Just so I can roleplay as a Mandalorian for a little bit. Holy moly, moly, moly. Oh, okay. My OBS is acting up. For a second I thought there was zero mic audio coming through. Oh no, not on a stratagem jammer.
Now, Helldivers, let our enemies take no step that is not hindered by the corpse of their comrade.
Oh no. Brother, don't shoot me.
Objective critical stratagem available.
Calling in a hellbomb. Requesting tac-tac. Reinforcing. Requesting advanced weaponry. Engaging terminal. Hellbomb armed. Clear the area. Calling in reinforcements. Tagging the
Ooh. That didn't feel too good. Alright.
Tac-tac inbound. Calling down a support weapon.
Requesting tac-tac. Calling down a support weapon.
Oh, and so there must be a missile.
Calling down a support weapon.
Ah, anti-air, right there.
Requesting tac-tac.
Well, you're about to get hit with
Orbital
Critical
inbound.
stratagem available. Objective critical stratagem no longer available.
There you go. Enjoy that, Liberty.
Requesting orbital.
Orbital inbound.
I feel like the anti-material rifle is not what it used to be.
Requesting orbital.
There we go.
Objective completed.
I feel like it's kind of been nerfed. Quietly.
Requesting air support. Orbital inbound.
Mag's empty.
Automaton facility.
Not today!
See, like, it shouldn't be that hard to get a headshot with the anti-material rifle. I don't think so, anyway.
Enemy patrol east.
Dropping a pin. Southeast, 200 meters.
Heavy! Southeast, 50 meters.
Well, you can distract them.
Negative.
Yeah, because now they're paying attention to us. I'm not going to put down the shield. What happened to protecting me, guys? Alright, let's go conduct some surveys.
Sending in an eagle.
Requesting air support.
Also, them 110s ain't 110ing like they used to. I don't know if it's because they gave us the extra one or what, but...
Sending in an eagle.
Ooh. That didn't feel too good.
I got the terminal.
Requesting air support.
Democracy has landed.
Where I do be my stuff.
North, 100 meters.
Tagging map. South, 100 meters.
Outpost destroyed.
Yeah, you go down.
Tagging map. Northeast.
I want my stuff back.
Sending in an eagle. Dropping a pin. Northeast, 200 meters.
Killing my friends is one thing. Taking my stuff, unacceptable.
Requesting air support.
What in the world? There we go.
Helldivers never die. Calling in reinforcements.
Requesting orbit.
How did I walk past my stuff?
Request approved. Reinforcements on the way.
How could this happen? I wanted my stuff.
Reporting to the front.
Leave it alone.
Copy and pin. Southeast, 100 meters.
Alright. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, 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 boop. Are you looking for me? There. Goodness, my aim is off. Gotta Mando where possible. Jango Fett. Let me know in chat who's better, Jango Fett or Boba Fett. I've always liked Jango Fett more. Maybe it's because I was like a kid when the prequels were coming out, but Jango Fett every time. Ooh, 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 ah, ah, bullied!
Requesting objective equipment.
Exactly. Django had better tools, better drip, better attitude. 100% agree.
Calling down a sentry.
Joining the fray.
Oh, and a shredder tank, of course.
Requesting fortifications.
Making progress.
Reinforcing. Dropping a 10 north, 200 meters.
All right, this base up here, I'm gonna just toss a 180 in and call it a day.
200 meters. Calling in reinforcements. Requesting advanced weaponry.
Request approved. Deploying reinforcements.
Also, Jango Fett had the what are the missile things he had on the back of his ship that he lobbed at Obi-Wan and ripped through space and cut it in half? I forget what those are called, but that's like the coolest weapon in all of Star Wars. Never to be seen again. What is the anti-material rifle? Look how they've massacred my boy.
Requesting air support. Activating jump pack.
Requesting sentry. Drop ship.
Sending in an eagle.
Sending an eagle on its way.
Bot outpost.
Nice.
Pushing orbital.
Tagging back. Northwest, 100 meters.
That don't look too good out there. Oh. Hey bud. What am I even floating over?
Dropping package.
Aha! I should have known there were mines. Yes, the seismic charge. That's what it is. Coolest weapon, probably in all of sci-fi, honestly. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like the base boosted. There was a series that my brother was into. Somebody like redubbed all of the prequel movies entirely and made their own story out of it. And the seismic charges just like played a base boosted version
Tagging map. Northwest.
of Make Those Moves.
Dropping package.
Requesting air support.
Oi.
Requesting air support.
Thank you.
Sending in an eagle.
Oh, that thing's gonna get extra punished.
Calling down fortification. Requesting advanced weaponry. Requesting backpack.
Alright. Objective is this way. Oh, yep, here we go.
Objective critical stratagem available.
Requesting objective equipment.
Requesting orbital.
Throwing supply beacon.
Now these on level 10 are brutal. At least they tend to be. Oh my word.
I got the turret. Reinforcing. Engaging terminal.
E3. E3 doesn't exist anymore though.
Requesting fortification.
Alright, where is the enemy coming from?
Sending in an eagle. Calling down a sentry.
Honestly, things aren't too bad. Oh, there it is. Alright.
Orbital inbound. Requesting air support.
Package fired.
I got the
Request approved. Deploying reinforcements.
Where's my stuff?
Dropping package.
Engaging terminal.
Come on.
Package fired.
Sending in an eagle.
Dropping package.
Oh my word.
Calling down a support weapon.
Finish up, finish up, finish up, finish up.
Requesting backpack. Calling in reinforcements.
Request approved. Reinforcements have been launched.
Nice.
Thanks to you, you may proceed to extraction.
Oh my goodness.
What is marking location? West. Affirmative. To the sky.
Mission at 20 minutes remaining.
Tagging location. North. Box. North. Calling in extraction. Throwing supply beam.
Extraction request confirmed. Shuttle inbound.
Down fortifications.
Bum 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 bada bada bum. Ba 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 bada bum. Bada bada bum.
Requesting air support. Have a taste of democracy.
ETA T-minus 2 minutes 30 seconds.
New mag.
Whew. We're doing good. We're gonna be just fine. Everything is gonna be alright. Don't wanna get the MCA'd. Bum, 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 bada, bada, bum. Ooh. Ooh.
Reinforcement. Activating jump pack.
ETA T-minus 1 minute 30 seconds.
Come on, guy, blow up. There you go.
High value sample collected.
Requesting fortifications.
Attack inbound.
ETA T-minus 1 minute.
What do I like fighting more, bots or bugs? Probably bugs. Bots are like my favorite for like consistent variety, but I think the bugs are more fun. There is something so carnal about fighting the bugs. But I'm democratically doing my part by fighting the bots right now. Alright, we got another tank and a Strider. Alright. We're Valhalla-ing these Striders.
Requesting air support.
Send me in, coach. Alright, that's one down. These guys right here, these guys might be the worst. Especially the incineration core version of them. Ain't no surviving. Alright, everybody on.
Pelican 1 preparing to depart. Shuttle launch in 20 seconds.
G1, you got a boogie, my friend.
Extraction complete. Pelican 1 beginning ascent.
Wait for it. That's right, this is the way. Oh man, that was a good one. Alright, well, I feel like that's a good place to call this stream. I might play for a few minutes afterwards, but I think this is probably as good a place as anywhere to call it. We'll see what the stats are in then we'll wrap things up. But I really appreciate everybody who's watched all the way through. Good attendance on the live stream. Good chit-chatting with you all. Had fun animating. Got some hell diving in. It's been a good time. Really appreciate everybody being here. Also, if you take a look at Peter Murray's studios, he's got a little dinosaur next to him. That's because he is our newest member on the Plot Coalition YouTube channel. So if you want to be like him and get a cool little dinosaur sticker that upgrades every so often, you know, consider becoming a member and supporting the channel if that's something you want to do. But hey, if you don't want to, I'm just happy you're here as a viewer. All right, let's check these stats before we call it a wrap. Let's see how we did in the Mandalorian fit. Not the greatest in friendly fire damage, but pretty... Actually, it was kind of weak. Kind of buns all around. When do I normally go live? Every Thursday at 8:30 EST. So try to keep it as consistent as possible. And Peter is correct. The dino alone makes it worth it. All right. Thank you so much for watching, all y'all. I super appreciate it. And we will see you next week. Bye.